Social media is the way of the
Social media to me is just a way to express yourself and share things that are going on in your life with others.
Without social media, I feel like I wouldn't be as successful. I feel like marketing myself out there wouldn't be the same.
Everything I see, I often imagine is skewed. I think I've learned over the years that it's a snapshot of somebody's life.
Because people can lie about anything, you don't even know them, they can say whatever they want to say about someone, and you don't know if it's a lie or the truth.
If your 16-year-old had been picked on in school, they could come home and home was safe. And now with social media and being on your phones, it's not anymore.
I think it's similar to being addicted to drugs, because when people are addicted to drugs, they go crazy when they don't have it, and that's exactly how I feel when I don't have my phone. And it's just like you feel like you need it, or you're just not happy.
It's not an exaggeration to say that social media is everywhere we look.
An estimated 4.5 billion people use social media worldwide. That is 1 out of every 2 people in the world.
And that means even though people think it's just teenagers that fill their days with social media, it's actually people from every age group and every walk of life that fill their days with tweets, TikToks, and Instagram posts. I'm Matt Mano.
And I'm Haley Hepworth, and for the next 22 minutes, B&B is going to try to pull back the curtain and take a closer look, an inside look if you will, at all things social media.
What is it? Who uses it? What's good about it and what's not so good about it? And where could it possibly go in the future?
Before we get started, let's agree on just what exactly social media is. Here's B&B's Ruby Mattis.
What is social media? Depending on who you ask, you'll get a variety of different responses. A dictionary may describe it, in simplistic terms, as a form of electronic communication. A teen may describe it as the very thing that consumes the majority of their time. A parent may describe it as a nuisance. All of these are technically right, but there's a lot more to social media than we may realize.
I guess social media is the ability to connect to everybody through so many different sources.
Social media to me is just a way to express yourself and share things that are going on in your life with others.
Regardless of how we view social media, there is one thing we can all agree on surrounding it. Social media is everywhere, and there is no escaping it. Whether it be your primary form of communication or the way you keep up to date with the news, we all are exposed to social media in one way, shape, or form. Even if you don't use it, you're bound to know someone that does. It surrounds us in our day-to-day lives, whether we want it to or not.
Everywhere I see around the hallway, say in school or I don't know, in the community, every person I see obviously almost every person has a phone, and almost every person has social media, and everyone's always on it. They're walking with their head down, they're looking at it, they don't know where they're going. It's just they're texting their friends, looking at stories, they're scrolling through in TikTok. It seems very addicting, and everyone just can't get away from it.
Regardless of how you feel about social media, you can't deny that its main appeal is the ability to share content with a tremendous amount of people, an opportunity that many wouldn't have without social media. Whether it's the desire to reach out and form connections or to go viral, social media provides its users the ability to connect to millions of others. Year after year, it seems like there are new platforms available.
Snapchat or TikTok.
I like Visco.
Well, I use Facebook every day.
Mostly TikTok and Snapchat.
I'm on things like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok.
I am on Facebook.
Favorite is probably TikTok.
With millions of platforms available and millions of people out there to connect to, there truly is a social media platform out there for everyone and anyone. You just might have to do quite a bit of scrolling until you find it. For B&B, I'm Ruby Mattis.
Thanks, Ruby. If you mention social media, you're guaranteed to get an instantaneous response.
In a recent NBC News poll, a whopping 82% of Americans view social media as a waste of time.
But it's clearly America's favorite waste of time, as 7 of the 10 people surveyed in that same poll say that they log on at least once a day.
You could easily say that social media is the addiction that America just can't quit. For more on how teens specifically feel this addiction, here's B&B's Lily Epez.
The sound of being a teenager has changed over the years, from listening to rebellious rock, rap, and hip-hop to the constant ding, beep, and chirp of social media. Our world is starting to see that a junkie's rush for dopamine is no different than a teen's daily need for social media.
It literally feels like I'm just like going insane. Like I have nothing to do. I'm trying to find anything. Like if I read a book, but then I'm just thinking about what's going on my phone, what's going on with all my friends.
I feel like I always have to check my phone, whether it be like if I get a text message or if I'm sitting in class and I see a notification, I feel like I need to pick it up because it feels like I'm like missing something if I don't.
I think it can have a serious impact on your life, and whenever something starts to kind of like interfere with your daily functioning, that's when it's kind of considered an addiction.
Little did we think that we would be controlled by screens, let alone not be able to go through a school day without checking our phones.
There are definitely a lot of people in our generation addicted to social media. They'll be on it like 10 times every class, 10 hours a day. It's bad.
I think it could be a problem sometimes. Like I see people on their phone like all the time in school, really not learning that much and just, always just like glued to their phone and always distracted.
Social media has a hold on our youth that makes it feel impossible to look away from all that's going on in the world of our phones. It's no secret that the high from social media is too strong to quit. How did high schoolers and drug addicts become so similar?
Obviously, they're two different addictions. It's not the same as being addicted to nicotine or any other drug, but it's still being addicted to something close and similar. Like you still get the same effects, like you can't let go of it, you can't like just throw it away and it's gonna come back. It's always there, it's always on your phone unless you, actually no, even if you delete it, your friends are gonna show you this, obviously you're gonna get, on the computers, they're everywhere. You can't get away from it.
We as society see what addictive substances, how they affect teenagers and how they affect adults. But we put age limits on, gambling, alcohol, nicotine, for a reason. When you're a teenager, your brain's still developing, so you have less impulse control, and we understand that as a society. But social media doesn't have these restrictions, and they use these things to kind of keep you addicted and trick teenagers by like constantly having reminder bells or putting like little notifications on your phone. So then all of a sudden you open your phone and you're back on these platforms, and they do this to manipulate you and keep you on, fight for your attention.
When people are addicted to drugs, they go crazy when they don't have it, and that's exactly how I feel when I don't have my phone. And it's just like you feel like you need it or you're just not happy.
For my generation who are addicts from B&B, I'm Lily Yepes.
Thanks, Lily. Like all addictions, a social media addiction can lead to other problems and health concerns. For more on how social media can impact the mental health of teens, here's B&B's Finnegan Corcoran-Doolin.
People naturally always want to look their best and share the high points of their life. There's not really anything wrong with this, but what happens when social media networks come into play where users are constantly bombarded with unrealistic expectations?
It's hard because I feel like I have a mental health background, so I try to take everything in context, and we've learned so much about social media, so everything I see I often imagine is skewed. I think I've learned over the years that it's a snapshot of somebody's life, no matter who it is, and so that's the best moment of their best day, and I try to kind of take that into perspective.
Social media has changed and evolved over the years, where it might have started out purely as a way to search for more information and stay connected with people. Huge companies and their profit margins have begun to influence the direction of the internet. In testimony to Congress by former Facebook employee Frances Haugen, Facebook's own internal research showed their platform, Instagram, caused increased body image issues and promoted eating disorders in its users, especially among teen girls.
I saw Facebook repeatedly encounter conflicts between its own profits and our safety. Facebook consistently resolved these conflicts in favor of its own profits.
Between 2007 and 2018, suicide rates doubled in teen girls and increased 30% in teen boys. In the same time period, social media usage also increased sharply.
Just the general idea of materialism, I think, is promoted so extensively on different social media platforms, and that brings up, again, that idea of us comparing ourselves to others and celebrities and things like that. So I've definitely noticed that being a trend, which then promotes heightened anxiety and depression because, I want to look my best, I want to be my best, and it kind of skews the idea of what the best actually is. I also think that, people can be whoever they want to be on these platforms. People are very comfortable saying, whatever they want to say and feeling very uninhibited in a social media platform.
Even for those with knowledge of the effects of social media, it still exacts a toll on their mental health.
There are times that I shut it down. Like I'm not even getting on Facebook anymore. I'm sure it's shifted how I think and how I feel, but the immediacy of it for me is, all right, enough. I got to get off of that for a while because it's making me angry or making me sad or something like that.
There are plainly some severe issues in today's population, and unfortunately, many of these different problems can be traced back to social media and the internet. I'm Finnegan Corcoran-Doolin with B&B.
Thanks, Finn. It would be easy to see the impact of social media on mental health and addiction and to demand laws and legislation to ban its use. But it is also important to realize that social media does play an important beneficial role in our lives as well. For more on the positive sides of social media, here's B&B's Danny Russo.
In today's society, social media is an integral part of our daily routines, whether it's using it on our phones or even sites like YouTube. Social media benefits students as well as teachers and staff, except in different ways. Social media can connect people, be a tool for educational purposes, and a way for people to express their shared interests, especially for Ms. Chaliotis, a high school social worker.
In some ways, social media or tools that are used through technology have certainly assisted me in the work that I do here. I use a Remind often to stay connected to my students, be able to create appointments and things like that. So certainly for my role here in the building has assisted me in doing that.
Students also benefit greatly from social media, allowing them to contact their friends or friend group when they aren't around each other. Social media lets the typical teen put themselves out there and lets the world know exactly who they are. According to Chloe Henderson,
I feel like that it's good, and it's a good way to communicate with others, create connections with either jobs or colleges, show your social media face to the world, even though, sometimes your social media face is not your real self. I feel like if you have a good separation between your own and your social media account, then it's pretty good.
social media also benefits students academically. Apps like YouTube can help students with homework, or really if they need a tutorial on anything academic.
Generally, it's made it better because I'm able to communicate with more people and get things done that I might not have been able to get done, like hanging out with different groups of people, because it opens up my ability to communicate with others who I might not have been able to prior.
The stats don't lie. Schools say that 59% of their students use social media for educational purposes, 45% of teachers believe that social media enhances students' academic experience, and 50% of those who talk about education topics online talk specifically about schoolwork. As social media continues to provide benefits for both students and teachers alike, it serves everyone with a way to connect with each other. In 2022, social media definitely plays a significant role in how we perceive each other and how we are as a person. For B&B, I'm Danny Russo.
Thanks, Danny. I'm definitely one of those teens who use social media to help with school, but I'm also guilty of spending way too much time scrolling through when I have much more important things to do.
Mano, I think we're all guilty of that. I think that with anything, it's important to find a happy medium between just right and too much.
Everything in moderation, that's the key. But even if you find that just right spot, that sweet spot, we all have to admit that social media has written plenty of the rules of the road.
Social media has changed the way that we entertain ourselves, the way we shop, and especially the way that we communicate.
Change the rules of relationship between friends or even deeper relationships. For more on those new rules of the road, here's B&B's Riley Freed.
Picture this. You're walking through the halls and you see your crush walking the other way towards you. Your heart begins to beat faster, your hands fidget, and a lump forms within your throat. You wonder if they'll talk to you, if you should say hi, or if you should just keep walking. Now, picture this. You're sitting at home on Snapchat and you get a notification, a message from your crush. Does that same nervousness form inside your stomach? This massive wave of social media usage has allowed for interactions like this to become easy and quick.
It's very easy to get to know somebody either like on Snapchat or Instagram, and there's ways to connect, and many at that.
The ability to connect with people so quickly with technology has helped to create many new relationships and allow for communication to grow among teenagers. However, does the social media used in order to facilitate these relationships feed a generation of people who hide behind their phones? Does social media prevent teens from having the skills to communicate face-to-face?
So I think that kids use social media for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes to, create those connections. And I think especially during COVID, that was the predominant mode of communication. But I also think that it's affected students' abilities to interact with others in a face-to-face context because people are more comfortable being very open behind a screen.
Friend-to-friend relationships are difficult enough to navigate, but teenagers also begin to dabble in romantic relationships, which social media has also changed the rules for.
I think that a lot of people are scared to interact in person with one another, so I feel like the use of social media can damage a way that somebody can start a relationship or even ask somebody out. I feel like they're so used to their phone that they're scared to do it in person, which is upsetting.
Another problem that arises when teenagers communicate through social media is anonymity. In a text, words just don't seem to carry as much weight, and people lose their filters. Jealousy can easily bubble over.
I've had an experience once where someone said something about my boyfriend on social media and said that he did something that he didn't. So it's kind of it can also hurt your trust with people because people can lie about anything. You don't even know them. They could say whatever they want to say about someone and you don't know if it's a lie or the truth. So it could hurt your relationships.
I think there's a lot of ways that it affects relationships. One way is if you're in a romantic relationship and you're liking other people's photos, sometimes that sparks jealousy and a lot of kind of unnecessary tension that maybe wouldn't have happened in the relationship if they weren't on social media.
Maintaining a healthy relationship has always been challenging, even without cell phones. In order to maintain a relationship, the rule is the same as it has always been. Communication is key. For B&B, I'm Riley Freed.
With social media changing the way that people interact, it can also create pain and suffering that might go unseen in public. For more on how social media impacts bullying, here's B&B's Sean McQuillan.
If your 16-year-old had been picked on in school, they could come home and home was safe. And now with social media and being on your phones, it's not anymore.
Bullying has received worldwide attention in recent years, with social media having a large impact. It has become the aggressor in today's world, whether it's affecting one mentally, physically, or even both, targeting specifically teenagers. According to StopBullying.com, nationwide, more than 3.2 million students face bullying each year, and that number has only gotten bigger. With that number getting greater year by year, there is one group of people who have seen that number increase: the teachers and social workers of schools all over America.
This sounds terrible, but it used to be just in the hallways, or it couldn't happen in class, right? If someone had said something that other kids were making fun of in a classroom, everyone would have to wait until lunchtime for that story to get out.
These teachers and social workers of Mepham High School have seen bullying from their perspective. They've seen a change from when they were once students to now. But how about those who are really the main topic when it comes to teenage bullying? The teenagers themselves. How has it changed for them in their nearing adulthood years?
I don't know if it's changed that much. I think it's just here. However, I think, like I said before, during COVID, social media had become more significant. And so we weren't in school and we weren't seeing people face to face. So I think people relied on social media more to facilitate those connections. So probably the trend has been more that bullying and just, I would say, social conflict in general was happening on social media.
Social media, now being the major reason behind bullying skyrocketing, has taken over the minds of once happy teenagers. These iPhones and MacBooks and other devices being reasons for students nowadays. What was bullying like for teachers and social workers growing up?
Social media use has skyrocketed because when we were shut down and people were home and virtual, people were online so much more, right? There was so much more online time.
I feel like it has definitely become more through social media and through the internet, because when I was a freshman, I didn't really see much bullying through the use of Instagram or TikTok. But now that I'm a senior, I see it so much. I see a lot of TikTok videos posted about people in the school and stuff, and different Instagram posts and stories. So yeah, I definitely see it more.
Technology will only develop more, which could lead to more bullying in the future. However, it's important that upstanders take a stand against bullying and not let people move you mentally or physically. If they stare, let them stare. You can't blend in when you were born to stand out. For B&B, I'm Sean McClellan.
Thanks, Sean. No matter whether you see social media as a good thing or as a bad thing, it will without a doubt be with us for a long time. For more on what the future of social media might look like, here's B&B's Victoria Caminiti.
The sound we hear when waking up telling us to start our day, but that sound does not indicate our future. So what does the use and future of social media look like?
To engage more audiences into their content, social media enthusiasts are going to meet core techniques of storytelling. In the year 2018, the art of storytelling was only used by influencers, bloggers, and websites. Storytelling nowadays is also being used by brands and marketers to bring social change into society and individual life.
Without social media, I feel like I wouldn't be as successful. I feel like marketing myself out there wouldn't be the same.
As the population expands, social media will keep developing different ways to make sure people are interested with what they see.
Because it's people, it's finding people where they're at. It's the fastest changing and growing platform out there. So I think it will continue to evolve. It will change. You really got to stay on it and stay close to it if you want to be relevant.
Even from the past to now, the world has experienced all sorts of new things. Nothing will truly just ever stay the same. The future will look different no matter what it is. But social media continues to grow in different ways.
Well, I think it evolves very quickly. And so it's really important to stay on top of it. Where are people going? What are they looking at? Which platform is attracting which people. So I think it's hard to predict where it's going, but we know it is evolving quickly.
My prediction on social networks is this. At some point along the way, the term will evolve. There'll be some technology, whether it's an Alexa skill, whether in 20 years it's a VR. Eventually, just like social media and the internet came along, something will come along that will be even better.
Social media will continue to modernize and adapt to what new trends are and create new ones as well. One thing that is true about the future of social media is that it's in our hands. The question is, will we tune in or tune out? From B&B, I'm Victoria Caminetti.
So, Mano, that's our inside look at the world of social media. After watching, what do you think, and are you going to make any changes to your use?
I mean, I'm going to try, but as I said earlier, I do have a little bit of an addiction as a result of, what do you know? It's that, that one thing, I'm not sure if you heard of it, that, kind of pandemic. As a result of being, cooped up in my house for half a year plus, I've kind of drawn a little bit addicted, a little bit of a necessity to be on my phone every so often, but I'm trying to break that habit and go on my phone a little less. But what about you, Haley? Do you see things a little differently?
So personally, I did have a slight addiction during the pandemic, but recently I've noticed, that little screen time notification you get?
Yeah.
Mine has gone from 10 to 3.
10
so
hours?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So I've gotten mine pretty low. I've learned how to just do other things, embrace other things in my life, and get away with not using it, but still being involved in everything.
Yeah, you should be very proud of that. And well, no matter what you choose to do, we hope this inside look into the world of social media will at least make you think a little bit more about what you post, tweet, and gram.
And maybe you won't grab for your phone every time you hear a little notification ding go off.
Haley, I guess I'll try.
Good luck. For B&B, I'm Haley Hepworth.
And I'm Matt Maddow, and this has been B&B's Inside Look. See you next March.